That might be the reason. All right, so I think I've launched it. Not sure. I'm not even sure. No, go live. Can I?
It does show me that it's uploading 32%.
Yeah. You mean inside the Riverside, right?
Correct.
All right. Yeah, I think right now it's gonna walk. That is that is so ridiculous. Can you hear me now?
I hear you loud and clear, yes.
All right, beautiful, beautiful. I think that means that we've just started. Do you see it on your screen like somewhere? Um, I don't know, maybe from the phone because I'm just pretending this. Go live. All right, if I click right
Sure.
now, so
Hmm.
that should go. All right. I mean, we didn't expect it to go perfect, but I mean, right from the very beginning, that wasn't perfect at all. All right, cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
there's a
it's
little bit of
fine,
delay.
really.
Yeah, there is a little bit of delay. Cool. So let's get started. I'm gonna hide this one. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a while. Uh, all right, that looks good. That looks good. All right, so let's get started. That's gonna be the first one. We haven't planned it like massively. I don't know for. Let me go to this page. All right, that's gonna be even better. So we didn't plan it like there was something spontaneous, and that we've been doing, and we're planning to do this for series. For number of series and episodes on LinkedIn. We're not sure what's going to be the trajectory, what's going to be the scope. But thank you, Tas, for joining me. I mean, I've already said it once, but I want to, well, just express my gratitude once again to you for joining because even yesterday you've posted on LinkedIn like another like mentoring stuff that you've just joined and you're pretty proud of this and I congratulate you on this one. But I mean, I can only imagine your schedule and how booked it is, but you've managed to join me, so thank you for doing this.
Um, it's really, spontaneous as you had mentioned, right? I mean, we started off having a discussion that's very agenda based, right? I mean, looking for, ways to collaborate and how we can help each other and the companies. And over the past couple of months, that relationship has turned to more of a friendship and, discussing what's been happening and, how to navigate through the whole, the noise that we see on the LinkedIn and social media and of course across different entrepreneurship circles as well. So I'm truly happy. I'm very glad that we are sitting here together, talking about it, discussing, and looking ways to collaborate more in future. So I thank you
Wonderful.
to bring me on board with this thing, and I'm very excited for the future, really.
Me too. Me too. Well, thank you. And I think that's going to be probably the best time for us to introduce yourself. And if you could, please do this. Well, just let's get started with you.
Sure. Okay, so Tasawwur Taz, been known by the name of, and I've been a UX UI designer and consultant for 14 years now, and for a few years I'm running my own agency by the name of Nexen, and we do UX and UI design and development, and we now, for past couple of years we have AI integrated within our workflow. So I take immense pride in sharing this that we are one of those AI-driven agencies that have a lot of heart for the human and the user side of things, and then we um, push the execution, 3x really. I mean, that's the speed that I claim, with us in place, and I've been working in Dubai for a few years now. Previously, we were remote. Now we have a presence in Dubai as well as Dallas, USA. and we are exploring more regions as well, and partnering with like-minded people like Gary, and exploring that European side of things too. So yeah, a quick introduction. But one more thing, I'm actively mentoring people. I'm also associated with several universities and institutions in Pakistan as well as here in Dubai, especially Zayed University, where we mentor and conduct workshops within the UI and UX design and development. And we are just trying to play our small part. And all of this mentoring, all of this teaching stuff really doesn't have that kind of reward, like it doesn't have a financial reward associated. This is something that we and my team and this is the culture of the company really give and give.
Thank you, Taz. Thank you. I mean, you've covered a lot of stuff, and that means that you do a lot of this stuff on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And once again, well, just how you've managed to jump on this call on this episode, and hopefully we're gonna stay for and like X amount of episodes that's coming. So if it is like up to me, so it's, my name is Gary, and I've been my path for the conversion optimization, which we are doing right now, it's way shorter than tasks. So in my case, even though I've been doing this for a little bit more than 5 years, as a freelancer, as an in-house project, that's been recently launched like a little bit less than 6 months, and we've been doing this. We already like, and even last week we've added another brand in our portfolio. That's Dimano. That's Italian clothing, which is a very beautiful brand, but they still have a lot of opportunities that we can help them with. And what we do in plain words, to not over complicate this stuff, we take the traffic that business and a business already has on the website, and we just make sure that the traffic they already paid for, they already acquired, they already possess and have on the website, we just make sure that they get way more revenue from the website traffic without the need of acquiring anymore. They can surely reinvest the added revenue, but that is in plain words. We take the traffic and we bring more revenue. It sounds like a magic, but we're going to discover this. Well, just so kind of it partially scientific, but it's mostly user experience in user like UX stuff. And getting to the portfolio, if I might share my screen. But I would need to have a confirmation from you that you can see my screen so that everyone will see this.
I see
Can
it,
you?
yes.
All right, beautiful. I hope everyone does. So what's going to be happening in these episodes? So we're going to be picking up a few websites. That's not going to be a large amount of websites. First and foremost, we're going to go through just in a couple of minutes. We're going to go through like from the macro perspective, what are the pillars of the conversion optimization? What are the pillars of a highly revenue-driven websites? Those who are converting on a good pace, and we're going to be taking those websites and we're going to be just covering from the mobile like from the mobile standpoint, because that's going to be the most important one in our case as well, because we're going to be focusing on e-commerce. Mostly the average order value is going to be for around 150 and less, so in those cases that's going to be applicable to discuss the mobile stuff. So that's going to be, and task is mostly getting to the structure. So Das is going to be covering the UI mostly because that's his expertise. He definitely knows everything that you can see on your screen right now. But I mean, that is his expertise, his tool skill. And we're not going to be discussing technical performance because it's going to be the very same thing for all the websites. You just need to make sure that you can bring your website to the most optimal speed without sacrificing too much the quality of the images and everything. And me, I'm gonna be, at least I'm gonna try to be responsible for the UX engineering and author, because those are the pillars to make sure the website converts, well, just as machine. Cool. Uh, I think that is mostly everything. Anything that I haven't mentioned, anything that you want to add before we jump to the first website?
You did really, comprehensively there. Just one thing that I want to communicate to our audience and people that, end up looking at this, that in no way this is a critique of whatever these different companies and designers has done, right? Of course, we understand that, every different company website have different strategy, and that strategy is, innate to what their current projections are, and as well as how they want to scale and look into the future. So we would just try to cover up the goods that they have achieved, and of course, some enhancements, some improvements that they could, do, and take this as a, I would say, take home um, actionable items for anything that you are doing, everything that you should feel to try, right? And yeah, I mean, let's jump into it.
All right, sure. Let's get started. Let's get started. So, well, we didn't prepare like any kind of presentation, any scientific rocket science. We just took a list, probably, I mean, from the ChatGPT, from the Claude, or whatever this tool was. We just took, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500 websites, and those are not all of them. Those are not. Like e-commerce and direct to consumer. So we've chosen a number of websites, and that's going to be just mostly random stuff that we're going to go through, and we're going to just. And one thing that I forgot to mention is we're not going to be um, breaking down some pages, those that are not directly related to the revenue of the website, because there's a number of pages on the website, any website, but there was, by the rule of 2080, there were 20% of the website that drive you 80% of the revenue. So we're going to be focusing on those ones. So I think the good place to start would be the bestsellers, because if they are bestsellers, then they probably generated more revenue. So we're going to be switching back and forth. One website is going to be the product page, and one website is going to be the category page. I think those will be the first one that we're going to start with. And as Tas mentioned before, and me as well, we're going to be focusing on the mobile layout. So that's just a random sample, and that we're going to start with. As well, as I mentioned, we don't have any perfect plan for these, so we're just going to go one by one. And even for this case, as you already see, please comment if you have any suggestions that you want to add, that you want to cover. So we'll just go through them as well. But I think, if you allow me, Tas, I'm going to start with just a few picks from
Please.
anything we already see on the screen, because that is probably the most important part. Once you already see your screen, you need to make sure, and those are the pillars that we mentioned before, you need to make sure that that resonates with you, because it doesn't make any sense to go over the colors and sizes and price and anything, all the description, if that is not the product that you're looking for. So I'd say we're kind of trying to not to squeeze, but to insert as much information as possible within the first screen, because anything that is below the first screen, they just drops dramatically in the scroll and how much visibility it gets. So I'd say that those pieces are kind of irrelevant, even though the customer already knows that it's not just one image that is available on the screen. So there is no need to place them right here. You can hide them. By doing this, you will get yourself a lot of space that you can fit all the information that is necessary, like the colors, anything that is going to prompt them to scroll down. And you can add these arrows to the side. You can that'd be a good way to place wish list, save to your wish list. So if you like this image and in the item itself, and if you're not sure whether you want to buy right now, that's going to be a good path for you to, well, just reach with your thumb, with your finger, just take it as wish list, and that's already mostly lit, because most likely you're gonna need to leave your email address. That's at least from my end test right from the very beginning. Of course, we're gonna scroll down, but what do you see?
I'm completely, I completely agree with the points. That does feel redundant. And since, we do have a scroll on the banner itself, I also suggest that we should have a scroll so that, if people miss that, there is images on the right side, they could see that scroll bar in the bottom of the image, and they can understand that, how far that scroll go. That's one, extremely important. Um, Visibility of system, and I do feel that that second, the thumbnails is, that feels redundant. That also pushes a lot of important information down below the fold. And one of the key thing that I feel would be extremely important for mobile experiences to have a sticky CT in the bottom. I understand that, when people tap on that add to cart, if that's sticky, they have to make a couple of decisions before actually buying it. So there is a lot that we can enhance from the, reducing the vertical height, showcasing the most information upfront, and then
Exactly. Yeah. And one of the points that probably makes sense to mention right now is we should always keep in mind as we're engineering something, what's the goal? So just ask one question, what's the goal of the product page? And most likely, if the product page is the landing page for you, you should keep in mind that the likelihood of your user land on the perfect page is going to be as low as it might be. So you need to make sure that you are offering some easy like little to no friction ways to search for some alternatives. And I was looking for the colors, as we can see right colors right now. I do consider the product pages and the shopping online as an experience. So what would be the reason to put those little squares? I'd say I'd rather put some little images of this shirt. So that would be all right. I can see this as a preview in a different color. So I see this one as an enhancement. So there will be no need for me to switch back and forth because right now I kind of need to click to see how it's going to look in that dark green or whatever the color is going to be. In other way, if I see those colors, I mean, right, the t-shirt, the shirt, whatever the piece, the item is being sold right now. So if I could see the preview of the item, there would be no need for me, and I could stick. All right, so that black color that I can see right now is probably the best one that I can stick to. Let's buy it. And I totally agree with the sticky add to cart. That is, yeah, you should have always an opportunity to buy whatever triggers you, the color, the size, the description, the selling points, the reviews, anything. So once you're triggered, that's a golden moment. There should be no friction for you to search. All right, but all right, I like it. But what should I do next? No, it's already available under your thumb. You just need to drop it. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you 100% because usually nowadays we see so many websites they just stick to whatever the standards are. They do not dive deep into the psychology of the users, like what they want, because they're only concerned about the products. Whereas the most important part in any business, it's going to be customers, clients, whatever the option is, whether it's B2B, whether it's B2C. And I'd say that keeping in mind the frustrations, hesitations, pain points, whatever of the customers are. You've mentioned one of the things that's pretty important is even in the images, even in the first section, it's probably would be very good because you're not in a physical store. You cannot touch, you cannot feel, but you already have this feeling, all right, that I kind of see how it might look in closer look. So that'd be way better image if they could add. They might have it. So that's probably the closest one that they have of the textile or the structure itself. So you could see, all right, that is how in close that looks. So is that something that I want or no? And another thing, as I've mentioned, that for the UX engineering stuff, there should be as less friction as possible between going from the product to the category. So I see no breadcrumbs right now. They might be visible from the desktop perspective, but I don't see any right now. So if I were to go to the previous section to see, all right, but what are the alternatives? I kind of like it, but that's not the best option. What are the alternatives? The cheaper, the more expensive, in another shape? I don't know, anything. There is no way. I probably need to open the burger or I need to go to the home page, which is already a broken experience. The more the broken experience you've got, the less it's going to be the conversion rate and the rest revenue you're going to have in your wallets. Sure. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I am 100%. But you know what I kind of like to do and what we have in our team, even though it might not sound trivial, but we try to consider and we try to think of the customers of the website and the visitors as of a kids, or at least close to kids. So that would be as evident as possible because one of the things that you've mentioned is some native uh, go back and forth or options and functions for the mobile, for the Chrome, for the Safari, whatever the option is. But I think because we have one of our clients is for them 80% of the landing pages are product pages. So there'll be no back and forth for them because there is no previous page. So for those 80%, and those 80% are actually the ones that can bring you the most revenue, you should consider, all right, but what if they want to get just one? It's not the back that they landed on, that's not the one they can buy. What's going to be the most, I don't know, the most convenient option for them? So probably scroll down and see some alternatives. But if no, if they want to go one section back, let's just add the breadcrumbs and covering because I really love because well, let's put it this way: you should not throw all your leverages and all your selling points and everything once at a time. It should be a sequence, and you should expect and estimate what's going to be this sequence. All right. So, firstly, they should be concerned: is that my product at all? Secondly, they should be considered right. So you should have those layers. So, all right, that's my product, but has anyone bought it? So we've got the reviews for these, and you should cover just one by one. And that would be a better option if you have some space, I don't know, maybe below the add to cart, some short but still a realistic review out of those 302. So 302 is like a massive leverage. So you've sold this item so many times and so many people liked it. But what if you had this little image and the quote itself? I really loved it. I don't know, my co-workers love this item. They asked me where could they buy it itself. So that would be additional layer. So even though it is leverage and it is leverage as well. So two very close things. But if you can mention one of them, highlight one of them, that's going to be way better. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Sure, sure. Yeah, 100%. And it's getting closer to this one because that's not going to be the only website that is going to we're going to break down for the last, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes. I want to kind of mention this thing. So I consider this price and the price breakdown as per those afterpay option. It is something not new, but still this is a huge leverage. I would not say, and I've mentioned it before, that's probably not the best place to put it on the website because you've just opened the website, and that's probably, when you want to ask about what's going to be your payment method or offer some alternatives, you are doing this in a physical store. You're doing this at the checkout, not during the entrance to your market. So whenever whoever enters your market, whether it's groceries, whatever, you're not telling them, "Hey guys, you can pay Visa." No, that's going to be closer to checkout, and the checkout I consider to be as a good leverage whenever you are about to click the sticky add to back, add to cart option that you've suggested. So once you see this, it's going to be always visible on your screen. So right below the add to cart, you're going to see, all right, I can break it down in 4 pieces. That's going to be 11 bucks. No friction at all. Let's buy it. Because right now, Because right now I don't see any like huge leverage points below the add to bag, and these below add to bag, that's the only action do you expect them to make on the website. You should not back everything to the add to cart, so it's going to be not visible or highlighted, but you should place something in below, so that's not going to overcrowd the add to bag, but still you're going to have some added leverages to the add to bag. That is probably everything. All right. Sure. Mhm. Exactly. Yeah, the users they already used to. All right, I can pay Apple Pay, I can pay Google Pay, I can pay Visa, Mastercard. You're not gonna surprise them with those options. But when you have the broken down for pieces, that's cool to have because not all the websites are having this, even though it's widely used option for the websites. Cool. I don't know. Let's go ahead with any other website. I would have known. I think I've highlighted previously. Let's talk about the category page because we already went a lot about the product page, which is cool to have. But I think if we can mention I don't know, best of sale. Let's see what we have in here. All right. All right, so that's already pretty good because they do have a neat layout. Let's take a look at the mobile view because that's going to be way more important. I'm not sure if that's the best layout that we have. Yeah, I think we do have it. Cool. So, all right, let's start. Or if you have any ideas right from the very beginning, that's gonna be good. You can go ahead. Yeah. 100%. Everything they mentioned, I agree with. And there are a few things I've already noticed, like while you were breaking down the website like this. I mean, I agree that this page, as we can see it right now, it might not look exactly the same from a mobile review, just from a mobile view, just because we view it from the desktop. But let's just assume that it does. And I'd say that those three layers, and even the first one is dynamic. So it's not, you see, it goes wider, then it goes smaller, and you've got, they just try to overcry each other. The first one, you've got one offer, then you've got free shipping, another offer, then you've got the third layer. That might be a little bit too much because I'm looking at the item. All right, we've got the final sale, then we've got the free shipping. Then what was the last message that I saw there? All right, then we've got another free shipping. So you've got too many, they've got too many messages. And the second will be, even though you've landed on the best of sales, and we've A/B tested this as well. I'd say many times, and it almost always that works. So if you could show some round images of the subcategories or the categories that I can click on, like a quick filter option. So, for examples, we would have right below the breadcrumbs, we would have towels, t-shirts, pants, whatever. So I can click on them and see only the best of sales for those because I might be not interested in anything that you see. There is just a blend of everything. And I'm not even sure if that is, yeah, you can see that most likely this shirt is for men, this one is for women. So it's just a blend of everything, which I think might be not the best approach because if I am man, why would I, well, see 50% of the items just for another gender, which is, I don't mind, but it might be not the best experience on the website for this page, even though that looks pretty solid. Yeah. Exactly. Sure. Yeah. That one you mentioned. So right now, people are getting more and more lazy. So we need to re-engineer the experience that we used to have even 5 years ago. So the world is changing like rapidly. So the one thing that you've mentioned is pretty important because before I click on t-shirts, on shirts or towels, whatever, I think that would be a good way for me to reduce the friction and the cognitive load to know like, all right, but what's going to be the number of items I'm gonna see once I click on that one because those estimates they're reduced. Even if even you definitely know the story about the Uber when they used to not have those maps and estimates like in how much time the car is going to well just get to you. So there was a lot of uncertainty, right? But what's going to be the timing? But when you have all right, so click on the t-shirts, and for this section for the bestsellers, there are only 4 t-shirts. All right, cool. Let's take a look at them. So that is an experience when you enhance it or everything for the user. And the feedback, I mean, I'm sure you do as well. We always try to engineer the website for, even though we value the return customers, but we try to make the experience as good as possible for those who are newbies, for the new ones. So I think this feedback is very valuable, but I think it's better to have once you are on the thank you page. So once you've paid the money, you are so and well, it doesn't make any sense at this stage because you've just landed and so let's assume that the best of the sale is the landing page for the marketing. So I've just landed. What kind of feedback may I have? So, but once I've gone through the funnel itself, I've gone through the checkout, category pages, product pages, and everything, I've got the experience that I can tell you and tell you, right, guys, I like this one, but the product pages, the information about the materials, that wasn't enough for me. So that is a cool way to collect the feedback. 100%, because I consider, and we in our agency, we consider all the websites as a blend of marketing, because the website is basically a landing page for mostly the marketing. And the clients, they always consider like how much did I spend? So how much actually I well, paid for the clicks. All right, so what's going to be the landing page cost, whatever. So that is a blend of the marketing and sales. And for those techniques that you mentioned, that is basically the sales. It's like imagining you are in a store. I mean, not buying the potatoes, because no one is going to tell you, right, we only got like 5 potatoes left. What kind of stores you are. But if you are buying something, let's just, for example, the sweatshirt or whatever. So they could let you know, go, all right, you can take a look. We've got those bestsellers, three left. And you all think, all right, we've got a lot of people around here in the market. So I should think a little bit quicker. Shall I buy this one or not? So that's a good technique for the sales part of the website. All right, all right. Let's move to the next one. Or do you have anything for this one as well? Sure, 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 sure. All right. So I don't know what's the third one that we have. The Nabla. Is it probably cosmetics? All right, all right. I'm gonna accept everything. Except I'm gonna close. Let's go for the makeup or whatever. I'm not sure what that is. Let's go configurator. I think that might be a little bit confusing. Let's go back to the home page and choose any random item. All right. Let's go to the mobile and deselect this one. All right. All right. Do you want to start? Yeah. All right. We had those issues with stars before. I'm not sure how much time it's going to take them to come back. No, yeah, I can hear you now, but there's a little bit of latency for the connection. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool now. It's cool now. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, and we can only because why even reviewing the other two websites and this one, we don't know the data about the revenue, so we are just assuming, right? So even though the average order value is pretty low, 23, but you can only assume and estimate how many of those 23 checks you've lost due to those low conversion optimization, even though for above the fold. So we haven't even got to the reviews because I'm sure that item has been bought before, but we've got no trust for these. Like, right, that's been bought so many times, and that's the use. And even the copywriting stuff, because even though there's just a little bit of the user interface stuff, I mean, there is no highlight. I don't know for what's the order. Do you expect your customers to read like just from top to the bottom? All right. But if we consider those to be like a kids, like kids, so what will be the navigation to help them to what's going to be the storytelling that you're going to be telling them? Because made in Italy, I mean, that is cool. I mean, you're way less visible than any other text. But what if you can just substitute this with the flag of an Italy? Because the images they are selling the whole story. And you've mentioned having those rather than checkbox, having the images, some I don't know previews of what's going to be the cruelty free. We all know what's going to be the icon for the cruelty free. And if you can select, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's too many. I mean, it's usually they select 3 to 4, the ones that they would say after the about the product when they meet their friend. Like, right, I'm selling this product and it is unique because of what? Because it's cruelty free, because it's vegan, because it's one of the massive selling points, and maybe even the unique selling point on the market is no stick, all slick, whatever that is. So if you consider this to be the biggest selling point, well, just highlight this one, and there is no need to mention 8 of those. Why wouldn't you mention 35 if you had them? So you should stick to anything that sells more and get rid of anything else, because you, in this way, you'd have way more space to tell this story about this item. And even the thing that I mentioned before, I do like the images of like what's the flavor. That's going to be the coconut, the cherry. But I think that would be more intrigued if I saw the previews of the same item, because I want to see what's going to be the color, if that would be for the coconut or for the cherry. So I want to see because even if I click, I think that's going to be like a dark red color, which is going to be appealing. So why wouldn't you, well, offer these opportunities as well to preview? It's a nice approach, but I think if we A/B test, that's going to be a higher conversion rate for any of the product page items if you were to place them this way. And I think we've got a lot in here, and even the one that you've highlighted, because we need to analyze, because when we're building the page, as I said from the very beginning, we're not trying to take anything that is standard on the market and just push it to the customer. We need to analyze, and if you collect the data, and if you collect your data from the CRM, from the anything that's been sold on the website through your website, and you can see and analyze, right, how many items on average do I sell, for example, this lip candy oil? And if it is getting closer infinitely to one, why would you waste so much time and add this one plus 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 plus? I mean, you can do this during checkout or whatever the option is. But in case, if, as you mentioned, they might buy it for yourself, for his sister, for her friends, and the item is getting closer to five, I think the drop down is going to be a better option for them. And maybe you have an option for save some space for buy now, because it might be applicable. You don't want to shop around, you want to click buy now, and maybe you have an Apple Pay that's 3 seconds and you've already sold as a customer.
Right. And I just want to add one. Sorry,
That
Kerry,
is
please. Kerry.
probably sure.
No, please carry on.
Oh yeah, I was just about to say that was probably everything at this point for the above the
Yeah.
fold stuff.
So a lot of since we work and develop and design all these existing established Shopify and WP, WordPress, e-commerce. So a lot of time what happens is that these clients doesn't have anything to actually look at the data, right? I mean, so they're so unstructured, right? That we don't have any data, and we try to make up, right? We try to understand, and then only then we have to first of all structure all the areas that we all the data points that we need to have in future to make better informed decisions. And so when we don't have data, right, so I would always suggest this to people, that only then use the best practices within that industry, right? Look at few of the
Yeah.
competitions, right? The market leaders in that, and see how they are doing it. And if your audience is different than that, right? I mean, for example, if I'm designing something for Nigerian market, or maybe North African, right? So I might not look at Sephora, right? Because that's a completely different market segment, right? So I do feel that we should always have that user feedback, the A/B testing, and getting all these important data points and metrics that would drive your future decision making. And lastly, make sure to utilize as much as possible those best practices that you are more confident upon, right? Rather than using all of them and just
Yeah.
throw it in because something else was working for some.
Exactly, exactly. And as we are getting closer to this episode, because we already just been breaking down for 1 hour and we've broken 3 websites, I want to mention one thing, because sometimes websites, and not the websites, but the business owners, they try to overcomplicate something. But there's so many things and low hanging fruits available. It's just subscription for the whole jar for, I don't know, $39, or Clarity for $0. So you can install that, you can see what's the behavior, because you might not have so many sales, because we know the funnel, and not all the users who are on the product pages, they end up paying you money. So you're going to have way less information analyzing the sales, but you're going to have way more information analyzing visually what is happening on your product pages, taking into consideration the most important traffic sources, the most important devices, whether it's going to be mobile, but mostly that's going to be the mobile. Taking into consideration, as you've mentioned, the countries, what's the difference? There might be another experience and behavior in Australia, but there might be another one in Japan. So you should take that into consideration. And mentioning this one, I think one thing that I forgot to mention, even though I had in my mind, is that's the beauty industry, and that is this beauty industry is well known for having reels, shorts, whatever the options are on the Instagram. So once you have it, we do know and we do notice, and way more and more on the websites, that they insert those verticals, rectangular, round, whatever the options are, some previews for the reels to see like how it is applicable by other people who've already purchased that. So that is way better than just written review, which might be purchased or just made up. Yeah, 100%. Because I do notice businesses and entrepreneurs and website owners, mostly they are rely on the marketing. So the website is getting like less appreciated. Like, all right, we already have the website. What's the purpose of making it better? But there are some businesses who are neglecting the I mean, building the brand and having a story outside the website, and they rely too heavily on the website because your website is not everything that's going to sell. I mean, it does have an influence, and the influence and the leverage is massive, but you should not neglect the things that is building outside of your shop, because even like if you take into consideration the physical store, I mean, it's not only this store because they've got the story. The IKEA, they have a story. All other massive stores and brands, they have a story. So that's going to be the very same thing. Like, you should build it outside of the website as well. So that would add up to the conversion rate of the website, because you've mentioned some best practices for the brands like renowned, like, I don't know, BMW, Rode, whatever those are. They can afford doing almost anything on the website because they've built such a massive brand. Because for as long as the website is loading, they're going to make money. But in most of the cases that we're breaking those websites down, you've got to nail your website for as much as possible, so you're going to have way more revenue flow into your pockets on the way and along with building your brand as well. So those are key points as well. Yeah, we can have totally different conversation about those leverages. Yeah, but if we stick to the premise of our breakdown for the episode one, that's gonna be probably it. Okay. Thank you, Tas. Thank you for the feedback. It's very important because I do get the likes, I do get the impressions, and some little feedbacks from my audience. But it's pretty important for me to hear that it adds value because that's probably one of the most reasons that I create these contacts for on LinkedIn is just adding the value so that my customers and your customers and potential websites they can add value to the website, and even without working with the agencies they can already start adding the value to the website and the revenue so they could see this thing is real. Because right now there is a lot of hype about AI stuff, but not everything is done by the AI. We can sit around for like 30, 40 minutes and we can already spot so many opportunities. They already present on the website. They just not engineer it the best way and not display the best way. And those are the real revenues that they can add to the website and to the businesses, because there are a lot of businesses they are suffering. They already have all solutions like on the website, but they're just kind of blind to what they have available to get fixed. Yeah, so I think that is probably everything that we need to mention for the first episode. I think we might cover a little bit more next time when we join. I'm not sure right now. We're gonna discuss afterwards whether it's gonna be each Friday or in any Friday. We're gonna see what's gonna be the best option, and we need to hear the feedbacks because thank you for everyone who's joined us during this episode first. I'm not sure how it went. We were just having a conversation. I didn't reflect back on how many comments and everything we've got because and I'm not sure how smooth that went. We're gonna take a look afterwards, but hopefully that was pretty smooth, and hopefully there was a lot of the value that was picked from this conversation, and we're gonna share way more during the next episodes. And thank you, Tas, once again. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Todd, for this time. Thank you, everyone who's joined. And well, probably see you next time. Cheers. Cheers.